So the last thing that we need to talk about when talking about monopoly is the concept of price discrimination. So a lot of times people hear discrimination and they think of it as a bad thing, as a negative. Now, normally it is, but when you're talking about price discrimination, it's not necessarily unethical or illegal. It's just a pricing strategy. So in general, what is price discrimination? Price discrimination is charging different people different prices for the same product. Okay? Now, a lot of times when I ask people for example of this, they'll say, well, a hotel in New York City is more expensive than a hotel in Syracuse, New York. Okay, but that's not price discrimination. What that is, that's just charging different people for basically different products, because a hotel room in New York City is one good, a hotel in Syracuse is another good. Now, where price discrimination occurs is when you're charging different people different prices for the exact same good. So if there's price discrimination, you'd be charging two people different prices for a room in New York City. So what is it? How is it achieved? So the way that price discrimination works is that they charge different prices, different people based on what they're willing to pay, basically. So the best example of a price discrimination is a student discount when you go to the movies. So when you go to the movies, you can pay a lower price than I would. How? Student discount. You bust out your student card. They say, okay, here's $2 off. Some other examples would be things like the early bird special or senior citizen discounts, or even coupons are a great example. Now with coupons, what happens? You can have two people. Let's say I have a twin brother. My twin brother is right in front of me in line. He's getting a loaf of bread. I'm behind him. I'm getting a loaf of bread. He may pay $2.50 for the loaf of bread. I may pay $3. Okay. Well, how's that possible? Well, he had the coupon. I did not. So he got charged one price. I got charged another. Now, what it all comes down to is really willingness to pay. The goal of price discrimination is to charge people more if they're willing to pay more. Now, you don't know what people are willing to pay for goods most of the time. However, you do know that certain groups are willing and able to pay more for things than others. So, for example, with student discounts, students typically, because they don't have as much money coming in, as much disposable income, they tend to not be able to afford to pay as much to go to the movies than somebody who was in their 30s or 40s who is working and has money coming in. So you charge them less to try to get more people to come in. Whereas people who are in the working age, they're willing to pay more. Same with senior citizen discounts. Senior citizens aren't willing to pay as much for certain things because they don't have as much money coming in than people who are non-senior citizens. Now, coupons are an interesting example because with coupons, basically everybody can pay the same amount, but the supermarkets or the clothing or whatever it is that offers the coupon, they're saying basically, look, if you want to pay less, you can. If you want to pay more, you can. So basically, they're leaving that up to you. With coupons, they are giving you the option what you want to pay. Now, how does that relate to basically willing to pay? The idea is that if people are not looking for coupons, they're willing to pay more. They know they're out there, but they would just say, hey, you know what, I don't want to go through it. So Another way that price discrimination comes in is with the internet. The internet has become very, very big with price discrimination. So, for example, if you try to book a airline ticket over the phone, you're going to tend to get charged more than if you would have gone on the computer. The same goes for cable, for example. So a couple months ago, I was going to renew my cable subscription, and I was looking online and I found a price. And so I went through, they had a thing where you could kind of pick a bundle, put it in there, and I did everything. I got a price for it, but I just wanted to make sure. So I called up the company. And so I said, I want this, this, and this. They're like, oh, okay, it is this price. Okay. I said, well, wait a second. I just looked it up online and it said that it was $20 less. Now, the response to me was, well, and so this was $20 less a month, right? So it's a 2-year contract, so it's $240 more by doing it over the phone than on the internet. So I said, well, wait a second, that doesn't make sense. And the response was, well, that's the cost of doing it over the phone. It's the surcharge of doing it over the phone. Now, my response to them at the time was, well, wait a second, you're telling me a 5-minute phone call is costing me $240? I'm like, no thanks, I'll just go do it on the internet. They weren't too pleased with that. But so I just went on there. I did it for $20 less a month over 24. I'm sorry, it's $480. $20 a month, 2-year period. Yeah, so 24 times 200 is 400. 24 times 20 is $480. Okay? So that 5-minute call can cost people $500 over the next 2 years, or $480. It's pretty crazy. But what happens is, for both that example and with the airlines, is people who are looking for things online tend to be more cost cautious. So they're more willing to look around for deals. So when you're looking on average, when you're looking online for different deals, you're not willing to pay as much. So you're looking to save money. So they're going to charge you a little bit less because they know that you're more cost conscious. Okay? Whereas if you do it on the phone, they're saying, all right, well, this person called in, they're not looking around, so we got them. So that's just something to keep in mind. Now, the overall goal of price discrimination is to get more whenever they can, to get more from people who are willing to pay more, while still keeping the quantity of people who aren't willing to pay as much as high as they can. So basically, price discrimination, they end up looking at the group separately and making decisions based off of that. And so they go through the whole process, looking at the marginal revenue and marginal cost of the groups and making a decision based off of that. Now, it's important when you talk about monopolies and anything that has price setting ability, because when they're able to set the prices of whatever they want, it allows them to do the price discrimination. They can charge the different prices to the different groups. And again, this isn't a bad thing. It's just from business perspective, a smart thing to do.